I am Val Mohney, the editor and owner of the Huckleberry Press, and we are at Madco Lab Studios, and we are with Kevin Weir of Action Coach, and is it Action Coach Spokane?
Well, I actually have my website's actioncoachspokane.com. The actual name is Action Coach Business Coaching.
Action Coach Business Coaching. So welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Look, I'm excited to be here today.
Well, I met you last week,
Yes.
and you are certainly someone to know.
Yes, indeed.
I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you.
And I'm interested to get more perspective. Our live studio audience is interested in getting more of your perspective on coaching and what you bring to it.
Well, thank you. Yes.
Right on. So how, starting with you on a personal level, how did you get started with Action Coach?
Well, very interesting. I'm a Spokane native, and I grew up, went to Ferris High School, got my Washington State, got into the Army through ROTC as a military officer. Thought I'd make it a military career, and guess what? Cold War came to an end, and Uncle Sam gave me a bunch of money and said, go back to school. So I went and got my MBA, figured I'd be in corporate America. And so I ended up being in corporate America, not only for one company, but two Fortune 500 companies. And one of the things I realized is that I wasn't fit for corporate America. It's very political, and it was just something that I didn't fit into. So I went to a career counselor, career coach at the time, and one of the things he did an assessment, and he says, you would make a great career coach. So through a series of events, he left the company that I had hired as my coach, and they hired me to be the career coach. And I won some national awards. But what was really exciting is that as I was coaching my clients, some of them would say, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to change a career. I want to buy a business or start a business. And so I decided to do some research, and in 2002, I found Action Coach, and I decided to buy the franchise. And so I was one of the first franchisees on the West Coast, and I got started over in Tacoma. Was over where I was actually living at the time. And then in 2006, I brought the business over to Spokane and started growing the business.
Wow. What do you love most about what you do?
I think the biggest joy I get out of my business is helping that business owner get a life. I have had so many people that said, I was that close to giving up, and now I actually have achieved my business dreams. I had one couple that were literally, I had to help them build the value of their business so they could sell it because they had no retirement other than the business. And so at our final coaching session, when they sold the business, the wife just bawled her eyes out. She goes, I don't know how we could have done this without you. And I just came away from that and I started crying because it was so emotional. And to me, when I see lives changed from business owners who are frustrated and overworked and underpaid to business owners who now have a real business and are proud of it, that's amazing.
I'm a huge believer in coaching. I think when I look back, anything meaningful or fulfilling I've accomplished in my life, I accomplished as a direct result of being coached through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing, is that everybody needs a coach, because how many people out there had a coach when they did junior high and high school sports? How many of people out there have actually coached their little league teams? The problem is that then when we get into business, we don't feel we need a coach anymore. But we're really super good at our craft. We're brilliant artists. We're amazing mechanics. We're wonderful doctors. But so many of those people know nothing about business. I mean, think about this. How much education does a doctor or a dentist get on business in medical school? That would be zero, or maybe 45 minutes. And now all of a sudden they go in and they're launching a business, and it grows, but then they lose control of it because nobody's ever taught them about how to be a business owner. They've taught them how to be a great chiropractor, great dentist, great mechanic, great electrician, but nobody's ever told them how to be that business owner that helps them achieve their business dreams.
It's the entrepreneurial myth, right?
Exactly.
You start out as a plumber.
Yep.
go out on your own.
Yep.
Suddenly you're billing and invoicing, marketing,
Yep.
hiring people, firing people. It's a whole thing.
Yep.
Right, Morgan?
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. Michael Gerber, that was one of the first books that I read when getting into business coaching was Michael Gerber's The E-Myth. And that is such a brilliantly developed book where it helps you, the business owner, realize, oh my gosh, I've been trying to do this on my own. I'm a great pie lady, like Sarah the pie lady in the book, but I have no systems and processes. So it's a brilliant starting point for a business owner to realize, I can do a lot better than what I'm doing now in my business.
How do you know when you've had a good day?
For me, I know when I've had a good day when every single client that I work with that day has achieved some sort of goal that has made their life one little bit better. At the end of my coaching sessions, I always ask every client, so what value did you get out of this coaching session today? And when I can hear things like, Kevin, you helped me realize ... or, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about blank, I'm ready to execute that. That's a great day.
Right on. What do you see as possible for the Spokane community? Let me start over.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
What do you see as possible for the Spokane business community? Like what's going on right now and what do you see is coming down the pipe?
So it's very interesting. Spokane is, I always tell people, Spokane is such an interesting place because if you think about Spokane, we're the biggest city in a vast geographic area. We're somewhat isolated because what biggest city to the north of us is Calgary, to the south of us is Salt Lake, to the west of us is Seattle, and to the east of us, Minneapolis. That's a massive geographic area. And we just happen to be the biggest city in this vast geographic almost emptiness. So we're basically a hub for a huge amount of people. And we've been doing that for years. Well, now what's happening is we've become that sort of sweet spot. Think about this. What's happening now is we're seeing a lot of people work remotely. Now that was happening before the pandemic. Well, what happened as soon as the pandemic hit, that just took off like a rocket ship. And people hated living in the big city, but now they could work remotely. And they wanted to find sort of that sweet spot. They didn't want too big, but they didn't want too small. Spokane fits that perfectly. So now we've got, basically, we're attracting people who work remotely. So we're really working on scaling up all of our infrastructure in here to do it. But the problem is homelessness. Think about this. Virtually, I've got a whole bunch of business owners that I've worked with that are surrounding the downtown area. And that's the number one problem. But one of the things that we're actually doing is we're actually starting to work on it. Did you know that Houston has actually had an amazing drop in their homeless? It's a great study. And so there's an organization called, if you go to SpokaneUnite.org, they're putting together an entire process that models what Houston did to really reduce the homelessness issue, because that's the number one issue. I talk with people, especially outsiders who come to Spokane, they love it, but they're really frustrated with our homeless issue. And now we're actually going to start working on it. And I think that's another thing. Another thing is the tech hub. We actually, very interesting story. Intel was going to make a major plant here in Spokane. It was between Spokane and Boise. And Boise was going to give them breaks that Spokane wasn't willing to do. And so they went to Boise, and look what's happened there. And I think Spokane realizes it's a mistake and is now working actively to be a major tech hub. And I'm starting to see that. We're starting to see, especially with the pandemic, we're going to see more of these tech companies, both startups and ones that we relocate. You're going to start seeing that, a lot of that here in Spokane over the next 10 years.
It's so exciting. I lived in Seattle for 27 years, and I think Spokane is the next great thing.
It is. It really is. And I think that's what makes this city exciting, is that we do hit that sweet spot. I mean, take a look at it. We've had major concerts here with major artists. We've got major events that happen here consistently. It's almost like the mama bear. It's a perfect kind of, it's not too big and it's not too small. And now that we're getting the infrastructure to support the business that do want to relocate, we're going to, over the next 5 years, we'll get a handle on our homeless issue. And think about this, the homeless issue really is is a process of our own growth. As our real estate values have gone up and up and up, we've had a lot of displacement out of that. And there's lots of challenges with homelessness, but that's a huge that's a process of our success here in Spokane. And now we're going to be able to get a hold of that. And I can see our city 10 years from now being, a lot bigger, but a lot more successful, and being that tech hub that I think we have the possibility to be here.
Right on. Do we have any questions from our studio audience?
What's the biggest challenge that a business owner comes to you with? Like, what's a common thread?
Let me repeat that.
Yes.
So what is the biggest challenge that business owners come to you with?
There's 3 big challenges that business owners come with. There's 3 things: time, team, and money. So time-wise, you have business owners that are working 60, 70-hour weeks. They are just burnt to crispy critters because they're just tired of it. They've become a slave to their business, and they don't know how to get out of it. The second one is team. There's a lot of business owners that are, as I said, great technical experts, but they don't know how to develop their employees. They've hired people, they've made horrible mistakes in hiring the wrong people. And even if they have the right people, they don't know how to lead, how to manage, how to develop a business. And so now they're feeling like, I'm a failure because I have so much turnover in my business. What do? I can't keep hiring and losing people. The third one is money. A lot of business owners have never been taught how to control money in their business. They don't know what a profit and loss is. They don't know how to read a balance sheet or a statement of cash flows. They don't know anything about budgeting. All they know is money is in their bank account, they're happy. And if there's no money in their bank account, they're sad. And they just get frustrated and they don't know what to do about it. So
Yeah.
time, team, and money.
Obviously, I identify with much of what you're saying, and you're a fascinating person.
Thank you.
I can see why you're so successful at what you do.
Thank you.
And if people want to find out about how to work with you, where do we send them?
So I've got my website, which is actioncoachspokane.com. You can also email me at kevinweir@actioncoach.com, or my phone number is area code 509-309-2922. I am located downtown, 421 in West Riverside, Suite 1015, right there toward the top of the Paulson building.
Right on. And we'll have all that information in the liner notes for this video.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. So thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. This has been great.
Awesome. Yay. There you go. She's got a MacBook.